Hello and good evening, and welcome to another edition of Inside the Burrow, the FAU podcast for and by fans, brought to you by FAUOutfest.com. I am Dan, as always, known as FAU for show, and tonight we've got a special guest. Special guest has been with us before. We've also got Jack with us, but tonight we've got head football coach Charlie Partridge. How are you doing tonight, Coach?
Great, guys. Appreciate you having me on. We're obviously in a bye week, so I'm out on the road doing some recruiting, finding some additional players to help us keep building this thing together.
Yeah, thanks for being on. We always appreciate it. So I guess to kind of dive right in, you mentioned recruiting. This is this past year's class. We're kind of already seeing the dividends coming out. I think one of the things that we, as fans, as passionate fans that have been with the program for so long, with some of the players that we were able to bring in this year, a lot of times we would watch them kind of sail away, like, oh, I'm interested in FAU, and then they would float on. What has kind of been your sales pitch? What are you communicating to these athletes, to these football players, to get them to think about FAU in a way that they never have before?
Well, you guys know this as fans and guys that have lived a Florida Atlantic life. There's a lot to sell at Florida Atlantic, and the thing about recruiting, guys, it's a couple things. One, it's something you have to enjoy doing because there's a lot of work to build a relationship. And two, once you earn their trust, you have to maintain that trust through the whole process. And I've got a personal reputation that I've worked for 20 years to build up down here. And I've tried to base that on telling guys the truth. And sometimes it means telling coaches or prospects things they don't want to hear as much as it is telling them what they do want to hear or what life is like at Florida Atlantic. And I didn't sell them a bill of goods or a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. They knew that if we work together, work hard, they trust me the way I earned their trust in the recruiting process, that we can do something. It's not going to be an overnight, flash in the pan fix. We're working together to build something special here. At the end of the day, the relationship and the trust and all the things that Florida Atlantic has to sell. I mean, it's got, our business school is exploding because of all the headquarters down here and the internships and relationships. And, you got Tech Runway at the north part of the stadium. That ties into business. You got Ocean Engineering, #1 in the world. You got, the sports MBA program, top 5 in the world. There's a lot of things to sell here, and then it's a matter of building a relationship based on trust.
And you, Coach, we can definitely see that's working. The Charlotte game, you could definitely see the quality of the recruiting class that you started to bring in. OC Rose, that pick six, it's as clutch as you can get. The interception to ice the game afterwards. The recruiting class, especially on the defensive side of the ball, has really shown that what you just mentioned is really working. So,
I'm excited. I love the way that these. Sorry to cut you off, but our older guys too. The thing about these young guys is they came here with a purpose. They came here to help build this program, to take it to another level, and they approach things that way all the time. And they are veterans, the guys that are still with us that do things the right way. I'm excited about the way they're approaching things because they're putting in extra film time. They're fighting to get better each week. That's going to lead to good things in the long haul.
Coach, you never have to apologize for cutting me off. It's perfectly fine. It is A-okay. I was going to say, speaking of the Charlotte game, it was a rainy game. Charlotte's very first night game in program history, the very first time hosting an FBS program, the very first home Conference USA game. It was a big crowd, a loud crowd, difficult conditions. But besides all that, despite all of that, how important is it to you to finally get that away victory under your belt, especially being a conference game moving forward?
Well, I'm just proud of the kids that all the things you just named off, and you add on to the fact that we needed that road win. Guys, let's call it what it is. That's a game that this program needed, that these players needed, and for that reason, I'm proud that they found a way to win when all the potential excuses and all the fears of things that have happened in the past. The opportunity was there to succumb to those fears, and they didn't. We knew that we were going into a buzzsaw. We knew that Charlotte was going to be an inspired football team. They had a tough game the week before that they were embarrassed by and disappointed in, and they had their first night game and all the things you just talked about. So we knew it was going to be challenging. Charlotte played their tails off. A lot of credit to them, but I'm just happy for our players.
Yeah, it was great as a fan just to finally see us, like you said, we just made it happen. That was great. So and kind of speaking of defense, I think we're all in the defense anyway seemed a little bit disappointed after the Tulsa game, but it seems as if they've Miami they definitely played really well, and then if you think about it, the defense has only given up a touchdown the past 2 games. It seems as if the defense is kind of turning the corner. Has there been a change in scheme and personnel? It seems like we've been playing a little bit more freshmen, but has anything changed on that side of the ball to kind of grow or help develop the defense a little more?
It's the second year in a system, so we've tweaked a few things, but the core beliefs and what we're doing defensively haven't really changed. You have a group of guys, it's when you have a revolving door, I'm the 4th head coach for some of these guys. It's hard to sustain or develop a system, and it's in the second year of our system. We do have, like you pointed out, a number of freshmen that are playing for us, and talented freshmen at that. That are learning, but there hasn't been a massive change in terms of scheme, or it's not like we're blitzing 30 more times a game or anything crazy like that. We have a group of kids that are getting better at doing what we're doing, and and I'm proud of Coach Rock, because there's a lot of people out there that started to question what we do, and the bottom line is we stuck to our guns and what we believe in, and our kids have continued to work hard, and they've rallied, and for that reason they're continuing to play better. And you mentioned the Tulsa game, and obviously we looked hard at that game too, but I don't know if you saw, guys, they put 600 yards up on Oklahoma. They're number 3 in the country. I mean, that group of players in that offense, they're doing extremely well right now. So, maybe we weren't really that far off that day, because we did hold them to less yards than Oklahoma did, for whatever that's worth.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So, we talked a little bit earlier about, the Charlotte atmosphere. I kind of want to bring it back even a few weeks before that to the Miami game, the atmosphere there.
Yep.
It was electric. It was great. It was something that we all imagined it being for so long. Can you give us a little glimpse to how special that was for the players? Did they feed off the energy as much? Did they appreciate the full student section? Can you give us a little glimpse into the locker room there?
Yeah, it was awesome. I knew that one of my jobs that night was going to be to contain their emotion. I wasn't going to have to create a single thing. From the drive-in, as Officer Delancey, who's corporal in the campus police department, works closely with our program, and he helps us escort the team in. And I actually, he was talking to me throughout the course of the day leading up to the game, and talked about how the parking lot was filling up and how it was way past lot 5. And so, long story short, I'm giving our kids the pregame team meeting, and I described what the scene was going to be, and you could already see the emotion stirring. And then when our buses pulled in from off of Spanish River back in the back way, and we're already seeing fans as we just turned the corner, it was fun for them to finally get to experience their own crowd that way. I mean, this group, a lot of them have been to big stadiums, but for it to be their crowd, it was a pretty special moment. From the Owl Walk into the stadium until we took the field as a football team and saw that full student section, it was a special night, and hopefully it's a sign of things to come in the future.
Yeah, that Owl Walk was something else. That was crazy. I mean, I'm right there with you. I've been to other, major university stadiums, and I've seen their little walk, or, little is something else. But I mean, that moment with the Owl Walk, I mean, that's when it just hit me. You have students,
Yep.
I mean, 3, 4, 5 rows deep, just trying, to get a high five to players. Music everywhere, food everywhere, screaming, yelling, chanting. That's when I knew that that was going to be very special days. I mean, if I was a player, I had no clue how I would be able to hold on to my excitement after that. So you did a good job of keeping them on track on the game, staying focused.
Yeah, I got to say, going along with that is I've been with the program since about 2005. So I've seen the high, I've seen the lows, I've seen the highs. I was in New Orleans when we were in the New Orleans Bowl, and even when the on-campus stadium opened and there was a lot of electricity in the air, this game coming onto campus, you could feel there was just some sort of energy there, and also we would have preferred the the outcome to be different, but I think what it really showed was this can be major college football. There could be major college football played in Boca. And, a couple years ago, you never thought that.
No, and you nailed it. And trust me, we did everything we could and wanted to get that win for you guys as well. And the fortunate thing here is one of the things that needed to be built and established here, guys, is some consistency and some stability, and you've got a coach and a group of coaches that enjoy being at Florida Atlantic, don't see it as a stepping stone job, know what this place can be, that has a chance to build stability. I mean, just like you said, take a look at our defense, okay? We stick to it. We stick to our guns. We continue to recruit to the system. Now you're starting to see a glimpse of what the future can be. So this place just needed some stability because there's been a lot of change in the last 4 or 5 years. And now you're starting to see pretty quickly here in a year and a half we've been together what can happen. And that pretty soon those nights you start to see the corner turned. And it's exciting because you're already seeing the young guys contribute and some of our veterans. I mean, we got a number of guys here that are NFL prospects that are seniors that NFL scouts are excited about. So there's a lot of good things happening in our program right now. We just gotta win at a faster clip, and we know that, and clean some things up, and hopefully we can get on a little run here in the conference.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm curious because obviously I'm a little curious about Quez and his kind of leadership role. He seems almost like as he goes, the team goes, and especially with him having to deal with the injury, does his leadership has he taken Driscoll under his wing a little bit? What's his presence like? Is he as big of a leader in the locker room as it seems on the field?
Yeah, he is. I think you could argue that he's our strongest, emotional leader, and he does an outstanding job of both sides of the ball. I mean, everyone knew that our defense was performing at an extremely high level, and on Saturday night against Charlotte, and he was nothing but behind our guys and doing everything he can to keep our offense up through what was a challenging night for them, and credit Charlotte their defensive performance. But his leadership role across the board, not just trying to help Driscoll or trying to help Daniel Parr develop. He's come a long way in terms of trying to be a vocal leader and not just a leader by example. He's eliminated that excuse from his vernacular. He expects himself to affect our team, and as he continues to do that, it's going to help us have success on the field.
Yeah, and speaking about some of these younger guys, I really wanted to ask you, and I'm pretty sure you've been asked this plenty of times, but I'm just curious again, which freshman has really impressed you? Obviously, O.C. Rose's Charlotte game was great. I believe it was Jan Young. Doesn't he have a couple picks already?
Yeah, he does.
Aziz Al-Shair from Tampa, 813. What's up? I think, he's Tampa. Okay, I double check about that.
He is, yeah.
Getting some playing time. I think Hillsborough High School, I believe. Getting some playing time. So, is there any freshman that's really just impressed you? From the beginning of the season, throwing them into real live game speed situations, and they said, wow, he's playing like a veteran out there. He's playing like a senior. And any name pop up?
Well, you know what? I'll cut you off at the playing like a senior because there's none of them playing like seniors. That's a different deal. But there has been a bunch of them that have impressed me. And you just named a bunch of them: Aziz, Jalen Young, O.C. Rose. Guys, Herb Miller had a great pick in the Tulsa game, and he's been playing a ton of reps. You know, corners just aren't necessarily noticed as much because they cover them and they don't get the ball their way. Jacob Douglas is showing signs of becoming a guy on special teams and in practice. Cantrell Burden made an outstanding tackle on kickoff the other night. Ralph Leonard hails from Starkville, Mississippi.
Yep.
He's shown signs of doing some really good things. We got a bunch of redshirt freshmen. I know you're asking about the true freshmen.
Yeah.
Hunter Snyder is a redshirt freshman. I can roll on with a bunch of those guys. So there's a lot of them that are contributing, and you have this group that, because of where our depth chart is, that are in the developmental phase with Jack Brashears and Brian Beck and Richard Williams, who we almost had to pull the red shirt off of him the other day when we were playing Buffalo. He's doing some nice things. Tarek Thomas, so those 4 linemen that we brought in this class are showing signs that they have a promising future. So there's a lot of them that, Stephen Leggett on the last pick of the game when O.C. Rose picked it, Stephen Leggett, freshman D tackle, is running the quarterback down from the other side of the field. So they're showing up all over the place. And without the leadership of our veterans like Cravon LeBlanc and Sherrod Niesman and Freedom Whitfield and Trey Coley, I don't think these freshmen develop at the cliff that they are right now. Our veterans have done an amazing job of embracing them when it might not necessarily have been that way because, if I'm a veteran at Florida Atlantic, let's be honest, guys, I get probably kind of tired of hearing about the Fab 15, right?
Yeah.
So I gotta credit our veterans because they finally, and I won't even say finally, from the beginning when these guys showed up, they put their arms around them, recognized that these young kids want to come in and compete, and they're coming together as a team. So I credit the veterans, and a lot of these freshmen are showing up because of that as well.
Excellent. Yeah. So I guess we won't keep you any longer, Coach. We know you're on the road, out getting us some more new owls. So we really want to say thank you. We really appreciate you taking time to spend with us and talk with us, lowly fans down here. So we really appreciate it.
You're welcome, guys, and leave this part in the edit. I know you're going to edit it. This is a process. Stick with us. We're building something very special here. Be proud to be an Owl because I am too. So go Owls. Thanks, guys.
Go Owls. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Coach.